Hello, my name is Ilona and I want to talk about biolabs in this video. Very interesting. I found a lot of information on the Telegram channel of Bio Cladiston. He is a journalist and there's so much information he shared. I truly recommend looking at his channel. I have already forwarded a lot of messages from him about this case, and this is very interesting because it is being said the dark energies are trying to distract people from this information. So a lot of information came out, but people are obviously distracted with other storylines, and they purposely are doing that because they don't want to draw attention to the labs, because they are very, very important. I do believe that ultimately we will have trials, but these are crimes committed against humanity. But the interesting thing is that obviously everything is connected. It started with the collapse of the Soviet Union, and the United States and the NATO allies were concerned about the weapons left behind in all these former Soviet Union states. So they agreed to the Cooperative Threat Reduction, and it was initiated by the Nunn-Lugar Act, authored and co-sponsored by Senator Sam Nunn and Richard Lugar. And they were there to secure and dismantle all kinds of weapons and their associated infrastructure in former Soviet Union states like Russia, Ukraine, Georgia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. Well, this has been expanded by a few presidents, and interesting enough, especially under Mr. O. In 2008, Black and Veatch was awarded the first of its biological threat reduction integrating contracts. That's interesting. The company Black and Veatch is very, focused on sustainability, durability. This is really got the agenda, the climate agenda written all over it. So that should tell you enough. In 2010, they were commissioned the first biosafety level 3 laboratory in the Ukraine. So Black and Veatch got the first lab commissioned officially to start a lab there. Interesting with this Black and Veatch that they actually got a subcontractor through a federal contract where they actually shared an office with in Kiev, apparently, which was called Meda Biota. And Meda Biota is very interesting because they partnered up with EcoHealth Alliance, which is also a well-known name in the labs. And apparently the founder of Meda Biota is also on the board of EcoHealth Alliance and is a member of DARPA's Defense Science Research Council. Now, the interesting part, of course, about Meda Biota is that they had help from Mr. B's son and his investment firm Rosemont Seneca Technology Partners. And they put in a lot of money in Meda Biota. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Strange name. Like I said, the founder is on the EcoHealth Alliance, and he was the successor executor of Epstein's will. So that should tell you something. His project got funded by the National Institute of Health and by Bill and Melinda Gates. Also, Nathan Wolf was a young global leader from Klaus. So that should tell you all you need to know. So there's this enormous list of labs everywhere around the world. What's very interesting that there is also a lab in Nicaragua. Very interesting. It is a veterinary diagnostic laboratory, and the Russians are really focused on the animal part because they are obviously used to spread things. So Nicaragua, which is very interesting, actually invited, this is from CBS News from June 11th, to enter the country. They gave permission for Russian troops to enter the country. So the government of Nicaraguan President Daniel Ortega has authorized Russian troops, planes and ships to deploy to Nicaragua for purposes of training, law enforcement, or emergency response. And that is very, very interesting. Because of course there's still a lot of distance between the USA and Nicaragua. It is still on the same continent. So in a way it is in the backyard of the USA. So Russians are invited that, and to me that seems like they are probably cleaning up things there as well. And very interesting that barely anyone is mentioning this. If I was living in the United States and this so-called, the Russians are really portrayed as this awful, awful country and Mr. P is an awful person, I think I'd want to know if they were on the same continent suddenly. So it's interesting that nobody's really mentioning this. But I do want to take a look at the biolabs. And I want to take a look in more of something's falling out. Yeah, the biolabs are really the Page of Pentacles. This is an opportunity to use. I do think more and more information is coming out. There were also informations that, of course, the president of the Ukraine is trying to get rid of all this information for the connection between the Ukraine and Biota. What a horrible name for a country, to be very honest. So they've been burning all these papers, but it is on the laptop, to be very honest. Everything is on the laptop, so people are fully aware of what is going on. The whiteheads are fully aware, but this needs to get out more and more. So I think more and more truths are coming out. But I'm going to do a reading a little bit different than what I usually do. So first I want to do 3 cards on where these labs are really used for. Of course, they've got all these nice names. And they're even called peaceful laboratories. It's just a very strange name for a lab to call something peaceful. So I'm just going to take a look, what are they really used for? Those are the first 3 cards. What are they really used for? This is the 9 of Pentacles. This is the 7 of Cups. And this is the Knight of Swords. Then the next 3 cards I want to draw are on the what is happening now with the labs. We've got the World, we've got the Star, and we've got the Lover's card and the outcome of all this. Justice, very interesting. The Magician and the 9 of Wands. So to me, this is used against the health of people. These labs were really there to spread things, to make sure things were getting out. They were really used against the people. There was being a lot of confusion. Of course, a lot of labs are not even mentioned, and this was really used to fight people. I do believe even there were some stories that in the Ukraine there were certain labs actually working on something that would attack certain DNA, so certain groups of people. And I do believe that that was happening, that really that's why Mr. P invaded the Ukraine, to stop that. So there's a lot of confusion going on, but this really was attacking health, attacking people. This was a way to get rid of certain groups of people, a lot of people. And they also used, of course, animals for that as well. They used a lot of things. There's a lot of confusion going on. The next 3 cards is what's going on right now. Well, everything is being protected. I do believe that things are being cleaned up for the new world that we're heading to. This is really a lot of protection from off-world as well, or other dimensions, really trying to protect humanity as much as possible. And I think a lot of cleanup has already happened. I think that we're hearing about things now, but that it's already happened in the past. They already took care of most of it, because let's face it, they barely have anything left. They've got something, of course, now with the monkeys going on, but if you really look at it, it barely anything. They're trying to get back to what has been happening for the past 2 years, but I don't think people are falling for that. I think people are really more feeling with their hearts and understanding that this is just a ruse, this is just nonsense. So it's really being protected, and I think they are really cleaning everything up, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if most of it is already cleaned up. Right, the third card, or the row of cards, are about the outcome. Well, that's very simple. Justice. Justice is going to be served, because let's face it, this is horrendous. This is causing so much pain to humanity and really seeing us as a bunch of guinea pigs and using us in all kinds of ways. And this is going to come out, the truth will come out. Justice will be served, and I think it's very necessary that justice will be served, because this is horrible what has happened for so long. And I think that will be a shock for a lot of people to understand that what's been going on. A lot of people in the truther community, we know that these pretty much are just weapons, just designed to gain control over us. But a lot of people will be shocked to find out that this is what's happening. A lot of people don't understand that there are people that can go that low, that can really look at us as we're nothing, we're just in their way, and they have no problems getting rid of us in all kinds of horrible ways. So justice will be served. I think that they're already working on that. I do think the white hats have already taken over a lot of control, like from the other cards. A lot of cleanup, they've got the information, but this is now about letting the people, the public that is just not aware of this, know what is going on. They need to understand what has happened. So I see this as very positive in a way, but they've been used for horrendous things. They've really been used to attack humanity. That's where these labs have been used, just in all kinds of ways. And that's why you have all these things going on around these labs, just to test things that certain, I'm not sure if I can, people getting sick around certain areas. That's done on purpose. It's also to see what's happening, what will work, what isn't going to work. It's really sickening if you think about how much time they've spent on this and how much they were just seeing the right mix to attack as many people as possible. And like I've just mentioned, they were even working on something that would just attack certain groups of people. And it's really frightening if you think about that. But we have to understand that these people, at least the higher ups, they do not have a conscience. They just have an agenda that they follow, and that of course they've got their orders, and they just see us as annoying, as in the way. Really, they don't really care at all for us. So that's sometimes difficult to understand, because if you are, a human being, you are mostly empathic, or at least feel things when something happens to someone else. They don't have that. They don't have that soul connection. They don't have that connection with God. They don't feel it that way. I don't think they feel anything at all. Anyway, just want control, power, and how they're going to get it. They're not interested in that. But a lot of things have been cleaned up concerning the labs, and I think more and more will come out, and justice will be served. No one will get away with anything. I think that has to be made very, very clear. Even if you hear that maybe some have switched, or maybe some help the white hat agenda now, they will not get away with things that they've done. You have to understand that there will always be justice served. So I want to leave it at this. I hope to see you in another video. Bye.